I'm an energy person and I'm at ease. But the minute you switch on me, you got to leave.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily podcast on fantasy basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball. Today we're starting a new week. The NBA preseason has kicked off, so tomorrow's show going to be looking at some stuff through the preseason. What we're doing in today's show is looking at the ESPN rankings, the Yahoo rankings. I've done shows on those already, but they have of course updated their rankings recently after we put out our Basketball Monster rankings, so now you can have a look and see where some of the value has been evaporated, no doubt about that, but where players have moved up and moved down, some other value and some other guys to avoid have appeared, in my opinion, on both ESPN and on Yahoo. So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's show.
Let's get to it.
All right, let's get to it. Indeed. Actually, try to give you a quick rundown of what we're doing this week. Today, as I said, we're looking at the rankings. Tomorrow, just some preseason news stuff that has gone on through the first 3 or 4 days of the NBA preseason. Just a bit of a news and notes type of show. Going to be looking at some sleeper type players later in the week, and also doing an ADP battle show where myself and a few of my Basketball Monster colleagues will be coming on and looking at players who are available around the same ADP and which players we'd take out of that group of people in sort of a debate type of situation. And then later in the week, we're going to be doing some more preseason recaps with an NBA reporter of some renown. So we'll be doing that later in the week as well. Today, let's look at these rankings and how it all pans out. And some guys who I think on ESPN still have some value. Mitchell Robinson is definitely one of those. You know, I really have some pretty big hopes for Robinson coming into this season. I still think he's going to be the backup, but he's ranked 368th on ESPN at the moment. I think he's got a real chance to be a top 150 guy just for his blocks alone, really. He can be a contributor in field goal percentage also, but he could realistically average 1.6 to 1.7 blocks in limited minutes per game. So I think Robinson is still a real value and a guy you're going to have to scroll down your draft queue to add there. But as a last pick is definitely someone I'd be looking at, especially over on ESPN, given where he's currently sitting there. Before I go any further with this list, though, I do need to tell you about today's sponsor, and that is Vivid Seats. Vivid Seats is an online event ticket marketplace and it's dedicated to providing fans of live entertainment experiences that last a lifetime. We all love a night out, and it can be seeing your favorite team, your favorite sport, your favorite concert, your favorite artist, whatever it is. Seeing it in person is always better. And with Vivid Seats, you can now attend that concert, show, or event of your choice at a great price. Vivid Seats is the top source for tickets for all live events that you want to go to, and you can sort by price or look for the seats in the section and row of your choice. To make things even better, all listeners to this podcast will get $20 off any purchase of $200 or more as a new customer by using the promo code. And that promo code is one word, Locked On. So go download the Vivid Seats app from the App Store, from Google Play. Enter that promo code, which is Locked On, one word, and save $20 off any purchase of $200 or more for new customers. Every purchase is backed by 100% buyer guarantee. So whatever it is you want to go and see, Vivid Seats is the app that you want to choose to go and buy your tickets. Make a memory that lasts a lifetime and let Vivid Seats help you to get to your favorite live event. The rest of these guys for ESPN who are still providing some pretty nice value with their updated ranks. John Isaac, he's still ranked ridiculously at 233 on their list. Now his ADP is higher than that, but he's a guy that from all reports there's a lot of hype about him. He's got a chance to be the starting small forward regardless. He's going to be in the rotation. He's going to be getting decent minutes. And his ability to provide steals and blocks, even if it's in 24 minutes a night, is going to be well in excess of the rank of 233rd and probably in the top 100 for this year. I'm really pumped for what Isaac is going to do. I expect big things for him, and you should be looking at him in those later rounds as someone where you can still extract a pretty sizable amount of value. Chetty Osman, another one ranked outside the top 250 on ESPN. He is going to be a top 150 player. As things stand, he and Rocket Rodney Hood are going to be the starting wings in Cleveland. So I think that he's got a chance for 30 minutes a night. He can pass. He's going to take on some creation role that LeBron had last season.
LeBron James.
He's going to be able to go out there and score. He can shoot. He can do many things. And he's got a real chance at being a top 100 guy this season. So there is quite a bit of value still in Cedi Osman. Trevor Ariza, for I don't know what bloody reason this is, but ESPN has him ranked as 229th. If anyone can explain that to me, please let me know. Now, I'm not massively high on Ariza. He's going to start in Phoenix. He's underwhelming as a fantasy guy anyway. But if for some reason he's sliding down to the pick 120, 130, 140, you have to grab him. And again, he's one of those guys that you're going to have to scroll down the rank to go and find on ESPN. Do it, grab him, and feel pretty confident in that value that Ariza is going to bring you in those last areas of a draft. Bob Cov, ESPN, what's going on over there? Have these people lost their shit? Robert Covington's ranked 150th over on ESPN. That is clear nonsense. He's more likely to be a top 50 player than to be ranked 150th. I'd probably look to ease him out of that 50, maybe a top 60 sort of a zone, but outside the top 100 anywhere like that is ludicrous. So if the people in your league aren't as switched on, you can get Covington maybe in the 8th round, and that is a huge amount of value. His steals are fine. He's not going to be losing tons of playing time to Markelle Fultz or anything like that. He blocks shots. He hits threes. The scoring's going to be streaky, but that is bloody good value at pick number 150. Another guy that plays the same position as Covington is the artist formerly known as Torian Prince. ESPN inexplicably has him ranked 138th. He's a top 50 player for this season. You should be treating him as such. And anywhere you get him outside the top 50 or maybe even outside the top 60, it's a massive foundation for building the strength of your team. So if for some reason he's sitting there at pick 70, you grab him every single day of the week. So I can't see a scenario where he doesn't finish inside the top 70, yet for some absolutely insane reason he's ranked outside the top 135 over on ESPN. Mo Harkless of the Portland Trail Blazers, he is injured at the moment, didn't play their first preseason game, but he is on track to return for the season opener. He's ranked outside the top 200 on ESPN. I think he's going to be a top 150 guy. 111 potential, steals and blocks and threes. And if he plays more than he did last year, which I believe that he will, then he's going to have a chance to maybe get into that top 110 zone. Now, usage is really low, scoring is low, but those steals, blocks, threes can be nice. His field goal percentage has risen quite significantly over the last couple of seasons as well. Not a great free throw shooter, but on minimal attempts, so it's not a massive negative. He is clearly a nice late round pick who is undervalued by a significant amount. Joshi Richardson of the Miami Heat, another player who is under 120th on ESPN. Are they pulling these numbers out of their ass? Because it doesn't make any sense. Richardson's a top 50 type of a player. Now I was skeptical when I heard Pat Riley say we want Richardson to score 18 points per game. Then Eric Spoelstra came out and said we want him to score 18 points per game. And then Josh Richardson came out and said something to a similar effect. So it makes me think that, yeah, they are all investing in this and they are trying to tailor their offense around Richardson. Now, he didn't play the first preseason game. He was injured, but that extra offensive responsibility gives me some hope. I don't think he's going to get to 18 points per game, but I think he will up that offensive output. Dwayne Wade, Dion Waiters, they are all concerns in terms of siphoning usage away from better players. But I still have hope in Richardson because even scoring 13 points per game last year, he was an excellent fantasy asset, blocking shots, getting steals, assists, hitting threes. From December onwards, he was like a 40% three-point shooter last season. If he can get that usage up and be used in a more productive way, then the value is going to come, and it's going to come pretty quickly. And ranked 120th is clearly ludicrous. And if he is around in that 70-60 zone, you have to jump on him. I think he's got top 40 upside for this season. You don't pick him at 40. You don't have to pick him at 40, but that value is clearly there for Joshi Richardson. Budrick Hield. I haven't been a massive fan of Hield through his first couple of years in the NBA, but on a team as shitful as the Sacramento Kings, there is no reason that he's playing only 25 minutes per night. ESPN has him ranked 124th. I am very, very confident he beats that. I think he can be a top 60 guy, especially with Bogdanovic out to begin the season. Really, really efficient. Hits threes, scores. A lot of talk of him and improving his playmaking. I'll believe it when I see it, but it's a possibility. And if he can just get to the line more than one time per game, his elite free throw percentage, he could really carry you in that area. If he can get 3-4 free throw attempts per game, you don't understand how big of a boost in value that is, not only in the points category, but his overall numbers. That is a huge multiplier. And he needs to be able to find a way to do that. We're not 100% confident, but the upside is there. He improved his defensive stuff. I think he is a real steal if you were getting him anywhere outside the top 100, because that is top 60, top 70 type upside for Budrick Hield. Larry Nance Jr., ranked 154th on ESPN. I think he's a clear top 100 player. Ty Lue has reportedly said that Larry Nance will be starting this season. Tristan Thompson will start some games against the biggest centers. But when you have a look at the opposing teams and you have a look at the NBA, the majority of teams aren't starting those big hulking centers. You could say Dwight Howard, Andre Drummond. They're your big type centers that Nance may have some problems with. Perhaps it's Rudy Gobert, Joel Embiid, maybe those sort of guys. But Al Horford in Boston? No, not really a worry. Cody Zeller? I don't think they should be worried about Larry Nance facing up against him in Charlotte. There are many, many matchups where Nance is going to be able to be the starting center, and he's going to get mid-20s in minutes regardless of if it's he or Tristan Thompson starting. He gets steals, he's a high rebound, high field goal percentage guy. If we can just get that usage up, and I think a pairing with Kevin Love works really well with Larry Nance, I think he is an excellent late round pick, and it's got a massive chance to be a top 100 player for this coming season. Bill Hernan-Gomez in Charlotte looked pretty good in the first preseason game. A little bit troubling, he was the third string center. They used Frank Kaminsky at center in that second string. Their second preseason game is just about to kick off at the moment. And he is going to start that game. So I do think that he will be that second string center. He was much better than what Frank the Tank was. He can produce in limited minutes as well, Hernan-Gomez. He's ranked 218th on ESPN. I feel pretty good about grabbing him with the last pick, and I like to get upside guys with the last pick. If he plays 26 minutes, which seems hard with Cody Zeller, because Zeller is by far the superior player, but he gets hurt a lot. If Hernan-Gomez stays at 22 minutes, he'll beat that value. And then if he pushes up to 24 or 25 given injuries, then he's going to smash through that number. So I like Hernan-Gomez as a last pick. Another guy I want to talk about is the blue swimmer, Alan Crabb, ranked 178th on ESPN for absolutely no reason. He was a top 70 guy over the last couple of months of last season, really upped his defensive numbers and got some of his shooting back on track, which had deserted him earlier in the season. Now, I truly believe that Karis LeVert is a better player than Alan Crabb and should be starting over him, but that doesn't mean that he will, because Kenny Atkinson has to buy into that. And Crabb doesn't do too much else apart from score, but those defensive numbers did leap up at the end of last season. If that can carry on, then he's going to smash through that. And if the minutes are solid at 30 minutes per game, if he's scoring and taking on that usage load he did towards the end of last season, then a top 100 finish for Alan Crabb is, I think it's a pretty straightforward bet that he will get to that level. Let's go next to another bunch of guys who have value on ESPN. Patrick Beverley is also someone who falls into that category. The starter for the Clippers at point guard. He's ranked 155th. I think that he was a top 70 guy last season before his injury. Top 100 should be what you're looking at for Beverley. Yes, they have more players back, but steals and threes and strong rebounds from a point guard. There's a lot of value in Beverley for this upcoming season. The Undertaker, Dewayne Dedmon's a bit interesting. He's ranked 162nd. Now, I have some concerns with the leg injury, but that just means that you can grab him with your last pick and see how it goes. Because if he's fit and firing, he's a top 80 type of a player. So that is perfect value for someone with one of those last picks in an ESPN league. Tyreke Evans as well is someone who I believe is a little bit undervalued, and not a little bit, a shitload undervalued. 121st rank on ESPN. I think he's going to handle the ball a lot. I think he's going to end up playing more minutes than Darren Collison when the season's done. He won't be Memphis Tyreke, but he's going to be bloody better than the 121st ranked player. Wherever he goes, he racks up numbers, and I think the minutes are going to be fine for Tyreke for this coming season. So looking forward to what he is going to bring. Let's continue on the Grizzlies theme, even though Tyreke's not a Grizzly anymore. We're going to look at new Grizzly, Kyle Anderson, who's ranked 111th. He was better than that last season, only 26 minutes per game. So I don't see any understanding of why he would be worse than what he was last season for the Spurs in a larger role. He's going to handle the ball and get steals and get blocks. Not going to score huge amounts, but that is an absolute no-brainer to grab Kyle Anderson. At that pick of 111, there's no reason for him to be as low as that. Continuing on the Grizzlies theme, Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. is ranked 127th. His combination of threes and blocks, even in mid-20s in minutes, is going to be easy enough for him to get there. I think he's going to start at power forward sooner rather than later. He might not push 30 a game, and he probably won't, but he is someone who is going to have that ability to go out there even in limited minutes and much like Mitchell Robinson, block some shots, be efficient, score, do all those good things that do translate to some nice fantasy numbers. So Jaren Jackson Jr. is considerably undervalued to me when we're talking about fantasy value moving forward for this season. I got to tell you that Locked On NBA, guys, it never went away and it's still here for you every day. Locked On NBA is your daily national NBA podcast. Every Monday I host it and I get the local experts on the biggest stories, and then you can stay with Locked On NBA all week long with daily 30-minute podcasts on everything going on in the NBA. Follow along for free, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or tell your smart speaker to play the podcast Locked On NBA. All right, go back to this list now of guys who are undervalued. Mario Hezonja. I've been talking about Hezonja ever since he signed with the Knicks. I think there's value there. Ranked 133rd. He's going to start. I don't know who the hell else is going to start at the fourth position. It's going to be the Fort Kevin Knox, and it's going to be Hezonja. I would almost guarantee that. Courtney Lee won't be in that starting lineup. So Hezonja, I think, is going to be able to play 30 minutes. He was a top 100 guy in 26 minutes in the second half of last season. So the value you can expect. Some of that was fueled by some high steal numbers. So if that drops off, there is a concern. But I really like Hezonja as a late type of pick. There is some significant value in grabbing him in your fantasy draft. Cody Zeller, a guy I just referenced as well, he's ranked pretty poorly, 188th on ESPN. So there's not a ton of value, but he did come out and block 3 shots in the first preseason game, and I do think that Zeller is an interesting, if not he's not spectacular, but he's an interesting type of guy towards the end of a draft.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
The Chief, Al-Farouq Aminu, he is ranked 179th. I don't know who else is starting at power forward for the Blazers. I don't know who else is playing those 30 minutes there. He blocks shots, he gets steals, he's a rebounder. The percentages are poor, but he will hit some threes. There's no way he's going to finish 179th in my opinion. Maybe not a high upside guy, but around pick 100 to 110. Really hard to get guys who can provide that level of contribution in multiple categories as what Al-Farouq Aminu does. And DeJounte Murray still ranked crazy 96th on ESPN. I think he's got top 50 upside and probably more realistic as a top 60 guy. He's going to get more minutes, more usage, high rebounds, high steals, good blocks, decent field goal percentage. And if those assists go to 5 per game, then he's going to be a top 40 type of a player. That's the sort of upside there. So love him as a late pick. Let's look at Gaz Harris.
Nice, Gary!
I don't know why he continually is ranked as crazily as he is. 94th he is ranked on ESPN. If you are in a league and you are getting Gary Harris at 94, please find a new league. Join the Red Rock Challenge leagues next season. There is no reason for that. He was the 41st ranked player last year, the 68th ranked player the year before that, and shit, even in his second season, he was the 102nd ranked player. So I don't know what is going on with those projections, but Gaz Harris at 94 is clearly nonsense and clearly something that you should be taking advantage of. Jinglin' Joe Ingles, again, there's no rhyme or reason for this. 123rd ranked on ESPN. He is the 75th ranked player in my projections for this upcoming season. He was 63rd last year. No reason to think he won't be a top 100 guy again. He sat out the first preseason game with some leg issue, but not a big deal there for Ingles. He's going to get assists. He's going to hit threes, and he's going to do it efficiently. He gets steals. Everything about him is just very, very solid. A fantastic roto guy for fantasy as well. Marcus Smart has missed the first Celtics preseason game, but he's ranked 182nd. We know the issues with field goal percentage. But you punt field goals and he comes in around about the 100th ranked player, giving you steals and rebounds and assists and doing it on a pretty nice free throw percentage, hitting some threes as well. The scoring and field goal percentage are concerns, but they're not concerns enough to push him down to a number 180. There's no reason for him to be down at that level whatsoever. And I just don't get the Chris Dunn ranking. 86th on ESPN. I've got him as a top 50 guy for this season. With Lauri Markkanen out, he maybe gets a bit of a bump in usage as well. But last season, he was the 52nd ranked player in only 29 minutes per game. We have to expect that goes up. We have to expect some level of improvement for Dunn this season, even if there is a reduction in usage, which I believe there will be. But the steals, the assists, it's nonsense. He shouldn't be going anywhere outside the top 60, let alone the top 80, which is where ESPN has him ranked currently. The table, Montrezl Har ranked 140 on the ESPN. I think he's going to start at some point this year over Marcin Gortat. Interestingly, they did use him in the third string unit in practice the other day. I don't think that will continue. I think he will begin the season as the backup center and play 20 minutes or so a night. High usage, high efficiency type of a player. Low blocks, low rebounds, which probably limits his overall ceiling. It's hard to get a high scoring, high field goal percentage guy that late in draft, so that's why I think that Harrell is worthy of a pick above that number 140. Eric Bledsoe, 56th on ESPN. I can't explain it. I don't know why he's that low. He came across without a training camp with these Bucks guys last year and was the 23rd ranked guy and 15th post All-Star break. And they're expecting him to be the 56th ranked player. And over the last 4 years, his ranks have been 23, 25, 17, and 20. Yet ESPN thinks, no, that's fine. Let's make him the 56th ranked player. No reason for it. He is a strong third round guy, maybe even a second round guy in many types of scenarios, and just no reason for him to be ranked as low as he currently is. Let's look at Jarrett Allen, who's ranked 91st on ESPN. I think the hype on him is probably going a little bit far. I am a bit worried about the minutes for him, and if the block rate regresses, it was shit at the first half of the season, excellent in the second half. But if Kenny Atkinson goes with him at 24 minutes per night instead of 28, then that's a real issue. I still think 91 is way too low, and you should be getting value there. But I think the hype may be getting a little bit too high for Jarrett Allen. And the last guy I want to talk about here for ESPN guys who are ranked too low is Paulie George, ranked 27th. It's nonsense. It's clear nonsense. You all should be able to see how ridiculously bullshit that is for Paul George. This is a guy who played alongside Russell Westbrook last season and was the 17th ranked player. He was 16th in Indiana the year before. He was 15th the year before that. And now Carmelo Anthony's gone, so that means more usage going towards Paul George. He gets steals, he rebounds, he'll hit threes, he has great free throw percentage. He should go to the line more this season as well. He's got a real chance to crack the top 12, let alone the top 25. So, yeah, really, really solid option for Paul George. I'd have him over Victor Oladipo this season personally. Over Chris Paul, over John Wall, over Drew Holiday, those sort of guys. And to have him at 27 is it's pretty nonsensical in my opinion. Let's go the other way of the players that ESPN has ranked too high. A couple of Cavs there, Tristan Thompson and Jordan Clarkson. I think it's Clarkson's going to be in the rotation, but ESPN has him ranked 78th. And I don't know what I'm going to do if he finishes the season as 78th ranked player. He's not that good. He shouldn't be getting prioritized over Colin Sexton, George Hill, Rodney Hood, Chetty Osman. He should be playing that bench role. He was 177th last year, 120th the year before, 109th the year before that. He just 78th is, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how these people are working these numbers out, but he is not going to be ranked as highly as 78th in this coming season. While Tristan Thompson, they got 159th. I don't see it. I don't see big minutes for him. He's not a good fantasy contributor, not someone you should be even sniffing around in standard type of leagues. Ali Akobo is someone who I do like as a player, but I do think that ESPN's got him ranked a bit too high, 158th. I think that Shaq Harrison will start for Phoenix if they decide to be dumb and not start Devin Booker at point guard, which is what they should do. And given the way they ran things in their scrimmage the other day with Isaiah Cannon starting at point guard, that makes me think that was a placeholder for Devin Booker with Josh Jackson starting at the 2. Akobo, Melton, and Shaq Harrison battling for those point guard minutes along with Cannon. I just don't really see it for Akobo, and I really like him long term. I'm just not sure that you want to be looking at him at pick number 158. I think I've worked it out. I think Dave Yeager is doing the ESPN rankings because Zach Randolph is ranked 108th. Cool. If he finishes 208th, I'll be stunned. He's not going to play every night. He's not going to play big minutes. Again, who is doing this? Who is making up these numbers? Are they guessing? Are they using it from 2008? Randolph was 121st last year in 26 minutes. He was 172nd the year before. He was 104th the year before that. He's not going to do that. And please, this is why you don't want auto draft on, because if you end up stuck with Zach Randolph, you're going to be pretty pissed. TJ Warren, another guy, ranked 79th. I like TJ. Trevor Ariza, Josh Jackson, McCall Bridges, Ryan Anderson, all these guys are competing for minutes with TJ. He will struggle to get the usage and the playing time that he saw last season. He's moved from the starting lineup to the bench almost definitely. No way that he is the 79th ranked player, and you should not be looking at that and getting interested in it. Mik Beasley ranked 156th. How is he getting the minutes? Now, Beasley put up some okay numbers in New York last season, but how is he getting that level of playing time on this Lakers team? Is he doing it ahead of LeBron? Is he doing it ahead of Ingram? Is he doing it ahead of Kuzma? It's a clear no to all those three. Will he start at center? No. Now, JaVale McGee and Ivica Zubats aren't great, but let's be honest, Beasley's not great either. So he's not going to get enough minutes to really push into that top 150. I wouldn't have thought so anyway. Miles Bridges of the Charlotte Hornets has looked pretty bouncy in preseason so far, but he's got to find a way to get minutes. Jeremy Lamb, Malik Monk, Nick Batum, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Marvin Williams. Dwayne Bacon even. Which one of those guys is he getting enough minutes for to be the 143rd ranked player? A couple of injuries would need to go down, or some significantly fantastic performances from Bridges, and there are much better options that I would rather, like Mitchell Robinson, to take with a last pick rather than Miles Bridges. Tyler Johnson of the Miami Heat is ranked 132nd with Dwayne Wade, Dion Waiters, with the play of Derek Jones Jr., Goran Dragic, Josh Richardson. He's just not going to get anywhere near the playing time he saw last season, Tyler. And that's going to make it hard for him to really even be a top 200 player. He was 137th last season, 171 in the second half of last year. And I think that's a more realistic expectation than him being the 132nd ranked player. Colin Sexton, maybe I'm being a little bit hard on Sexo here, ranked 104th. I just don't really buy it from him. Low assists, low steals, low threes, low efficiency. It just doesn't do enough. Now, he will probably start at some point this year, but he's more likely to be that guy who comes in, if he played 32 minutes, maybe he scores 20 points per game, Andrew Wiggins style, and doesn't do enough in those other categories to push into the top 100. So spending the 104th pick on Colin Sexton, it's a waste of the 104th pick. So I don't think that's the direction that you would want to go there. Dwight Powell, I don't know if anyone can explain why Dwight Powell is ranked inside the top 100. Luka Doncic, DeAndre Jordan, Dirk Nowitzki, these are the guys who are going to be playing the three highest amount of minutes in the front court. Salah Mejri, Maxi Kleber, they're all in the mix. I like Dwight Powell, but pick 97 has no relevance whatsoever. The minutes will go down from where they were last season with DeAndre Jordan in the mix. DJ Augustin is ranked 90th. The reports are that he is going to start at point guard for the Magic. I don't know if he's going to remain there all season. I don't think he's not a steady enough guy at pick 90. He's not a high upside guy at pick 90. And who knows how long he's going to hold on to that starting point guard job. So while he maybe is the 90th ranked player for the first 2 months of the season, at some point I think they'll turn it over to Jaren Grant. And then his value disappears. So it's not worth wasting that pick there on him. Greggy Monroe.
As Greg runs in, we realise this could get dangerous.
Monroe's ranked 122. I don't think he's going to be in the rotation for the Toronto Raptors, so that is a waste of a pick. The Raptors started Serge Ibaka at centre and used Jonas Valanciunas as the backup five, and if they're going to go with that configuration, Monroe will not play on most nights. He was 114th last season in 20 minutes per game. That's really good, clearly. But he's just not going to play enough. He's not going to be an every night contributor, and when he plays, he might not get 20 minutes anyway. So there's no justification for me for taking Greg Monroe in a standard league. Brandon Ingram, probably ranked a little bit too high at the moment. We're on ESPN at 55. I don't get that. Look, he put up some impressive second half numbers last season. We know that the shooting was much improved. Over his last 8 games, he was the 44th ranked player, but over the course of the season, he was 112th. And that he did that on 47 and 39 as his 2 percentages, averaging 16 points with 4 assists. Now, I think his assists drop with LeBron around. Maybe the efficiency rises, but I'm not sure how much higher it's going to get than that. Will he actually start getting steals and blocks? Because he hasn't done that so far in his NBA career. Wasting the 55th pick on Brandon Ingram, for as much as you can like him, it's a waste. Because in the best case scenario, the 98th percentile outcome, maybe that's him. But why would you want to take that risk at pick number 55? It just doesn't make any sort of sense to me. And I'd say the same with Joshi Jackson at 110. I'm probably not as aggressively out on Josh Jackson at 110. There's a chance that he starts with Booker at point guard. That is the lineup they should be going for. I don't know if they will. But I think that McCall Bridges is going to be better than Josh Jackson at some point. We'll see that this season. Jackson put up okay counting, or pretty good counting numbers at the end of last season with Booker and Warren out. But of course, Booker's back, Warren's back, Ariz is there, Anderson's there, Ayton's there. He's not going to have those opportunities. He's a terrible shot selection guy who hasn't put up enough stats in other categories to make me really believe in him at that sort of a spot. Trey Burke is ranked 74th. Now, Burke was great last season. I don't believe that stellar long 2 shooting percentage that he had last season will continue. There's a chance that he isn't the starting point guard and Frankie Ntilikina can get that. We're also seeing Fizdale blowing smoke up Emmanuel Moutier's ass and pumping him up, so hopefully he's not in the rotation, but he could potentially be there as well, which is somewhat of a worry, I guess, there. But Burke is absolutely great as a last pick. At pick 74, I think it's a terrible option. The Iron Shoulder, Goran Dragic is ranked 37th on ESPN, so somebody is definitely pulling these rankings from 2014. There is absolutely no way, I think, again, could be wrong, but how is this going to happen? The last few seasons of Dragic, 81, 45, 76, and 58, and ESPN said, well, you know what? At the age of 32 and a half, with more talent around him, he's going to have his best season in 5 years. That seems like a logical scenario. It doesn't. It's not logical. Dragic really dropped off with his efficiency last season. His assists were down. His steals were down. He doesn't hit many threes. His scoring dropped off. And now we've got to integrate a full season of Dwayne Wade, maybe more Dion Waiters, a rise of Josh Richardson, maybe some more Justice Winslow. It just doesn't make sense that he is going to be playing, those 34 minutes he was playing 3 years ago and still couldn't get to this level. So, of course, that is one of those nonsense rankings too. And lastly, we go to Dwight Howard, who's ranked 39th on ESPN. That's going to screw some people over, especially in roto drafts where you don't want to take him at that pick. Now, punting free throws, he can have close to that value. He's already injured at the moment with that back, which has given him problems for the last 2 to 3 years. So picking him at 39, it doesn't make sense, pretty clearly. Let's go on now to a few other guys ranked too high. There's a lot of guys I've got on this list quite clearly. I hope this is useful for you guys. Kevin Knox, the Fort. I like Kevin Knox. He's ranked inside the top 100. He falls into the same sort of category as Sexton, is that where are the rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks? Like, efficiency is going to be a problem. He struggles in those areas, very Ryan Anderson or Enes Kanter-like there, but nowhere near as strong of a rebounder as what Kanter is. He's going to get usage, and people talk about that, he's going to get all the shots he wants. That's great, but points are one category, and if you can't hit your shots and you're getting lots of them, that makes you a negative in field goal percentage, but you need to get rebounds and assists and steals and blocks. You need to do all these other things, and if you can't do them, you're Andrew Wiggins. And that's the example that I want to throw to everyone else who always says, usage. It's going to get usage. It's going to get usage. And people say that, throw Andrew Wiggins at him. He got usage and he's ranked 140th. That is why it's important to know what usage means and how all these things come together in fantasy. Now, I love Knox as a late round pick. Inside the top 100, I'm probably not all that keen on it. And I think that some of that is New York stuff. And it's also the Summer League blow up that he had. But just bear it in mind and try not to take that risk there. The pencil Harrison Barnes is ranked 53rd. Ridiculous. He's injured to start the season. He's never been that good at any point in his NBA career. Now he has to give up rebounds to DeAndre Jordan. He has to give up touches to Luka Doncic and Jordan, and he's just not going to get to that level. He was outside the top 100 for the last 3 months of last season, and there's no reason for me to think that he is going to get anywhere close to being ranked as the 50th best player. Punch Bob Shipbloke is ranked 136th, and I think he can probably get to that level early on when Lauri Markkanen is out, but he's not going to be playing any center, which is where he thrived last year. We've got Wendell Carter Jr. and Robin Lopez there. He's going to be backup power forward, which you'll also have to share with Jabari Parker during the season. So I think that if you're expecting a big breakout from Punch Bob, I think you're going to be disappointed. He's a shitful defender. He is a guy who comes in and just jacks up shots. And he did it pretty well last season, improved his efficiency, but a black hole offensively and a terrible defender. And with the talent now starting to develop with Carter, with Markkanen, and with Parker, all those three guys are preferable to Portis in his two best positions. So I think that he is going to struggle a little bit for this coming season. JJ Barea ranked 126th. Great assist numbers last season, but of course, Doncic around you does have a trickle-down effect onto minutes of other players. Plus, Barea is 34 years of age now, and no one wants to be spending pick 126 on JJ Barea in a fantasy draft. Jeremy Grant, maybe he's going to be the starter this season. Maybe not. Maybe it's Patrick Patterson, but I definitely don't want to spend pick 100 on him. There's no reason to do that. It's not a common sense move at all. He can block some shots, yeah. He's not going to do too much else. Not going to be high usage next to Paul George and Russell Westbrook. Not going to be a high rebounding guy next to Steven Adams. Don't really like that at pick 100 for Jeremy Grant. Reggie Jackson, I think that there's a chance of a bit of a bounce back for Reggie this season. I don't think that picking him at 75, where he's ranked on ESPN, is worth it. So that's one to fade. He's more of a 120 type of guy. I believe the minutes should go up this season, but still not 100% healthy with the ankle. Struggles in steals, doesn't get many assists, not a high three-point guy, poor field goal percentage. Colin Sexton, this is what I think Colin Sexton maybe becomes, is Reggie Jackson. And I don't think anyone is too excited about that. And sorry for shitting on Colin Sexton. But we all get excited about rookies, but we have to realize that the 9th pick in the draft doesn't become a star very often, or 8th pick in the draft. Same with Kevin Knox. And being a solid starter like Reggie Jackson is fine, but it's not the 75th best player in fantasy, which is what ESPN has him ranked at. Johnny Simmons, In Orlando, he's ranked 144th. Maybe that's fine, but I think Johnny Isaac's going to take those minutes. Terry Ross is going to take those, and Simmons will really struggle to get back to the level that he was at last season. Marvin Bagley ranked 92nd. If I'm spending a rookie pick in the top 100, it's Trae Young, it's Jaren Jackson, it's Luka Doncic, and it's DeAndre Ayton. It's not Marvin Bagley, who I think was I had maybe the 6th best prospect in this class. Doesn't make sense. Picking him at number 2. The Kings have other big men there. Who knows how Jaeger's going to use him? No way would I be buying him at... Maybe that's actually top upside value for him at 92. Why would you even go anywhere near him at that sort of a zone? The answer is you shouldn't. Kyle Kuzma, the future MVP, is ranked 69th.
Giggity!
Kuzma was good last season. There's no doubt about that. Was he the 69th best player last season? The answer to that is no. He was in fact the 106th best player. Now, over the post-All-Star break period, he was 79th in 34.5 minutes with a usage of 22 and shot 38% from 3. Now, he was not a good three-point shooter in college. I think that number comes down a little bit. I think he's not playing 34 minutes per night. He played only 31 per game last season. That's a more realistic estimation coming off the bench behind LeBron and Ingram. And again, how is he getting to be the 69th best player? In what is happening for him to get to that level? Kyle Lowry is ranked 11th on ESPN. Do not pick him 11th. That is the auto pick nightmare. Lowry he looked good in that first preseason game alongside Kawhi Leonard.
I'm a fun guy.
But he was 28th ranked last season, 15th the year before, and in that 15th ranked season, he was he played 37 minutes. He won't be doing that, I can guarantee you. If anything, his minutes are going to drop from the 32 he played last season. The assists are nice, steals and threes are all really good from Kyle Lowry, but yeah, pick 11 is clearly a big chunk of bullshit. Andre Drummond's ranked 14th on ESPN. Yuck. I like Drummond. Solid third-round guy. Still a real anchor in free throw percentage. And by anchor, I mean something that drags you down, not something that can support you. The assists are going to drop with Blake Griffin in season. You know, the splits in the assist are absolutely phenomenal. I think it was 4 per 100 down to 1.7 per 100 with Blake versus without Blake, which is stark. Still going to get steals, still going to get blocks. He's going to take some threes, which might impact his field goal percentage as well. Pick 14 is an absolute waste on Andre Drummond. And this one's going to seem weird to me, but... or to you, not to me, because I did it. Giannis Antetokounmpo is ranked number 1 on ESPN. Anthony Davis is ranked number 3. And there's no reason, again, and I say this all the time, it's the old Family Guy. Like, I could pick number 1. Giannis, he could be anything. He could even be Anthony Davis. So why wouldn't you just take Davis? Why wouldn't you take Harden? To me, there is no justification for taking Antetokounmpo. We know that Budenholzer is a little bit more cautious with the playing time than what Jason Kidd and Joe Prunty were. And even in 37 minutes per night, Giannis was the 7th ranked player. He doesn't hit threes. His defensive numbers dropped off. His assist numbers dropped off last season. The free throw percentage isn't stellar. There is absolutely, in my opinion, zero justification for taking Giannis at pick 1. You could take Davis, fine. You could take Harden, of course, great. Giannis, nah, I'm good. I don't want to take him now. I think he's going to get overdrafted. Look, he could finish the season as the 3rd best player. I doubt it personally. He could. But at pick 1, the amount of things that would have to change. He'd have to start banging in 1.5 to 2 threes per game, get 7 assists, get 2 steals, 2 blocks, which I guess is possible, but all signs point to that not happening. So you can't win a draft in the first round, but you can sure as bloody hell lose it. And I think taking Giannis ahead of Davis would be one of those instances where you do lose it by doing that move. Let's go across to Yahoo. They do have some different value ranks over there, but there is still some of the same guys who I think are ranked either too low or too high. Mitchell Robinson leads the list off again, ranked 368th on Yahoo. I've talked about him already. I'll go through this list and mention the guys I've already talked about. Mitchell Robinson, Cody Zeller, Mo Harkless, Bill Hernan-Gomez, Patrick Beverley, the table Montrezl Har, Chetty Osman, DeJounte Murray, all those guys as on ESPN and Yahoo, they're all some value picks there. I think Jeremy Lin is an interesting one over on Yahoo as well. I think Lin is not listed on the preseason injury report for the Hawks. He's ranked 140th on Yahoo. I think he's going to get mid-20s in minutes, backing up Trae Young and playing alongside Trae Young. He can, in 25 minutes per night, he can have top 100 value. So I think Lin is a pretty strong value pick there. Georgie Hill's ranked 182 on Yahoo, an ADP of 140. He's going to be the starter at point guard, and he could very well give you 2-3 months of top 70 value. That may drop when young Bull Colin Sexton comes in, but for now, George Hill is really good value as a late pick, and as as Yahoo's got him ranked outside the top 180, that's ridiculous to me. The Jedi.
Hello there.
OG Anunoby, ranked 216th on Yahoo. His ADP is much higher than that, but he is looking like he's going to be the starting power forward second season. He could be a Jonathan Isaac type with steals and blocks. The blocks weren't there last season, but they can improve. I liked his playmaking. That looked better last season. He hits threes. He's doing that efficiently. I think Anunoby's an interesting guy. Probably not a massive upside player for this season, but definitely better than rank 216. Malik Monk, ranked 218th on Yahoo. Probably not going to be the starting shooting guard. That's going to go to Jeremy Lamb, who is also an undervalued player on Yahoo, but absolutely worth a late pick or the last pick in a Yahoo draft. And we'll talk Lamb now as well, who's ranked 151 on Yahoo. I think he's a top 100 player. Looked great in the first preseason game. Can score, can rebound, can do it efficiently. Some steals, some threes, handles the ball a bit. Should be a top 100 player for this coming season. The Rooster, Danilo Gallinari, is ranked 150th on Yahoo. The injury concerns are fine, but you're happy to take him in round 11, round 12, and not with a last pick, maybe even round 10. He's got that. If he plays, he's a top 100 guy. He's probably a top 80 guy if he is healthy, but of course, that's the big concern we have from him. While Rudy Gay is ranked outside the top 140 on Yahoo, no other small forward on this roster. He's going to start in that position. And he's going to be a top 100 player. I feel pretty confident about him, almost 18 months removed from his Achilles injury. Rocket Rodney Hood, talked about that before, likely the starter at shooting guard, ranked 198th on Yahoo. Now, he shit the bed almost literally last season, but he's going to score, he's going to hit threes, he's going to get you some nice free throw percentage as well. Now, he doesn't do much in those other areas, but he is absolutely a standard league draftable guy, a round 12, round 13 type of a player, not a guy that should be ranked 200th, which is where he currently is on Yahoo. Let's look at Frankie Ntilikina as well, ranked 186th. Happy to take him with a late round pick. Assists and steals can be nice from Ntilikina. Let's hope he takes that step forward offensively as well. I hope he gets a solid amount of playing time. I think Fizdale should be looking at that. I don't know whether he will, but he should be. So I think Ntilikina is a strong candidate to outdo that value. Some other guys here on the second sheet of players. I've already talked about Marcus Smart, Tyreke Evans, Mario Hezonja, Chris Dunn, and Budrick Hield, as well as the Chief El Farouk Aminu. But there are some other players to talk about here on Yahoo. Enes Kanter is ranked 92. He should be able to piss that in, no problem whatsoever. Top 60. The numbers should be big to start the season. Maybe they fade away, but at pick, he's not lasting till pick 90 in most cases. Kanter could realistically be top 40 for a couple of months to begin this season, and that's pretty good value if you're getting him there. Kelly Olynyk ranked 153rd. Hassan Whiteside blew up in the first preseason game. We'll talk about that on tomorrow's show, but I still think Olynyk is solid, and there are going to be games where Whiteside can't play as many minutes as what he would like to personally. So I think Olynyk is pretty strong as a late round type of a pick. Kyle's mate, Jabari Parker, is ranked 114th on ESPN. With Markkanen out now, he shoots up even higher, playing a more natural position, which should boost his rebounds. He's a top 100 guy every day of the week, probably a top 75 type of player. So some significant value with Jabari Parker. You got DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix, ranked 69th on Yahoo.
Giggity!
I think he's a top 50 type of player. High rebounds, good scoring, high efficiency, some block shots. You should be able to exceed that. And I don't really say that often from rookies, but Aiden should be able to exceed that number pretty comfortably. A couple of guys to talk about here. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, ranked 111th. Should be a top 100 guy. I don't really see any reason why not, unless Kenneth Faried is doing the Yahoo rankings and assumes that he's going to start over him. Hollis-Jefferson was ranked 91st last season in just 28 minutes per night. I expect that to go up 1 or 2 minutes, and his ranking to go up higher than where it was. And Yusuf Nurkic, another one, ranked outside the top 100 on Yahoo. Absolutely zero reason for that. He should be a top 75 sort of a player with top 50 upside. Scoring, rebounding, shot blocking. If he can get the efficiency back up, which he struggled with at times, and the free throw percentage, which is a problem, then he's going to be able to exceed that number pretty comfortably. Let's look onto some Yahoo guys who are ranked too high. A couple of names I've talked about already. Tyler Johnson from the Heat, DJ Augustine, Colin Sexton, Dwight Howard, Brandon Ingram, Jeremy Grant, Joshi Jackson, the Pencil, Harrison Barnes, and Goran Dragic. So they seem to be overvalued across the fantasy community. Mohamed Bamba.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He's ranked 122 on Yahoo. I just don't think that he is ready. Steve Clifford doesn't like rookies whatsoever. He loves what Vucevic has been doing in preseason. I think that Bamba is going to struggle to get enough playing time to get anywhere near that level, and that would be a waste of pick number 122. Marco Bellinelli, for some reason, is ranked 157th on Yahoo. Why? He's not that good. He's never really ever been that good. There are other options in San Antonio. Pat Mills, Rudy Gay, Derek White even. I just don't see why you would ever spend a pick on Marco Bellinelli. Terry Rozier looking pretty good in the preseason, but 118th. That is you assuming that Marcus Smart and Kyrie Irving are going to be hurt. And I don't think you can assume that. Because if they're both playing, how is he getting enough minutes to get anywhere near the level of production that he did last season? Now, we know that Rozier was really strong last season, and that's great. And you can talk about, man, he wants to get paid. He's very, very good. But where is he getting the minutes? And over the last 2 months of last season, he played 31 minutes per night, and he was the 98th ranked player. Because he still struggles with efficiency. He's not a high steals guy. Doesn't get tons of assists. So he needs 31 minutes, and to improve all those things just to get to that level, it's a waste at that sort of a pick, I believe. The Duke, Wayne Ellington, ranked 149th. We love what Ellington can do. He can hit threes. That's great, and he does them at a high rate in the three-point percentage league, but he just doesn't do enough. So I'm not taking him in a standard league unless he's more of a streamer for three-pointers. That's really where he sits. And the same goes for Jumpin' Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets. I like Harris, but he's ranked 126th. No reason for him to be there. He hits threes, but what else is he doing? Nowhere near enough to be ranked inside the top 130. Dirk, this feels like a legacy selection. He is ranked 110th on Yahoo. He may struggle to even play 22 minutes per night this season. He's coming off the bench. He won't be a top 150 player this season, would be my prediction for Dirk Nowitzki. Josh the Hitman Hart, love Josh Hart, but 125th. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Rajon Rondo, Lonzo Ball, these are all guards ahead of him in the rotation at the moment. I think he should be playing over KCP. I don't think he will play over KCP. He's going to need 30 a night to get, to exceed that number, and I just think he's going to struggle to do that. Etuan Moore, chance he doesn't start at small forward this season. He's ranked 148th on Yahoo. I think the top 200 is a little bit ambitious for him for this season, with Solomon Hill potentially starting. He was 124th last season, Etuan, but he did it on 51% shooting, which is obviously extraordinarily high, and that could very comfortably drop. He doesn't do much in any of the other areas, and if that efficiency falls off, he's not going to get back inside the top 150. And the other guy on this current list is Serge Ibaka. Now, he did start at center. That's true. Had about 4 fouls in 10 minutes, though. He's ranked 79th on Yahoo. I don't see the value there. I think he's probably going to struggle to be a top 100 player for this coming year. Poor field goal percentage, poor rebounds. He was 89th last season, which is fine. So Yahoo's expecting him to get better there. I think that won't be the case. I think he's going to suffer another drop off. The blocks aren't really fantastic. He gets no assists or steals. I just don't see the rationale for looking at Serge to be improving over what he did last season. And to wrap things up, another few guys on the Yahoo list of players ranked too high. We've already spoken about Kyle Kuzma on this list. Let's talk about Marvin Williams, who should be the starting power forward for the Charlotte Hornets, but doesn't mean he's going to get many minutes. He's ranked 121st on Yahoo, so it's not egregious, but I just think with him declining, with Frank Kaminsky and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist pushing for some of those minutes, Marvin was ranked 149th last season, and I don't really see him getting past that for this coming year. Marcin Gortat also too high, 140th. Not that good anymore. I don't think there's any upside in taking him at that area. Not a worthwhile selection. JaVale McGee is ranked 119th on Yahoo. Now, Kyle loves JaVale and he's got him as a top 100 guy. I think he's going to struggle with playing time and being able to maintain 20 minutes per night. So while it's fine to take him at 140 or so, that's totally fine. I wouldn't be grabbing him at 119. There are going to be better guys available at that area. Zachary LaVine is ranked 64th. LaVine, in his role as number one offensive man, struggled last season. The field goal percentage was terrible. I think some of that is going to carry over. Low steals numbers, not high rebounds or assists, although the rebounds were up last season. I just don't buy it. No, he's fine around 80-ish. That is okay. 64th. There's going to be guys like Torian Prince and Joshi Richardson potentially available at 64, and I would rather them over LaVine. DeMar DeRozan, Should have had him on the ESPN list as well. He's ranked 16th on ESPN. Nonsense. You shouldn't be going anywhere near him on ESPN. Nothing to do with that whatsoever. That is craziness. 32 on Yahoo, I think, is a little bit too high. Everyone's, Popovich is going to bring all this out of him. But what is he going to bring out of him? Is he going to make him shoot threes? Because the Spurs were one of the worst three-pointing teams in the NBA last season. They just went almost exclusively to the mid-range. 47th last season in per-game value in 34 minutes per game. If you had to bet the over-under, will Popovich reduce DeMar DeRozan's minutes? You know which direction you're going to go. Is he going to get more than the 29% usage he had last season alongside LaMarcus Aldridge? If I had to go the over-under, I know which direction I was going to go. He had 5.2 assists last season, and I do see his assists increasing this season, but how much better are they going to get? Is he all of a sudden going to become a maniac in getting steals and blocks and strong rebounder? Like, no. I don't think any of those things happen. He's not going to be banging in threes because Popovich isn't Mike D'Antoni that's out, everyone take threes. Popovich doesn't like threes, and we saw that last season. He had that team a few years ago where they were taking all those threes, the ball movement, but he wasn't happy about it. He just did, and this is why he's a great coach, he wanted to maximize his talents. So now maximizing his talents means get DeMar DeRozan to the line and get him into the mid-range and not from three. So that's why I don't really see him taking those big steps forward enough to justify that pick, especially that nonsense on ESPN. Klay Thompson ranked 28th on Yahoo. I don't get it. That's really, really high for Thompson. He wasn't able to get anywhere near that last season. The 43rd ranked player last season, 34th the year before. And then when DeMarcus Cousins comes back, he is going to suffer a little bit. Now, he saw his usage drop from 26 to 24 last season. That could go a further 1 percentage point down this season. He gives you nothing in rebounds and assists or steals or blocks. High efficiency, but definitely not worth that high of a pick of inside the top 30. I just don't get why we'd be going that high on him. Aaron Gordon ranked 41st on Yahoo. It's all going to come down to, is he a 30% three-point shooter or is he a 35% three-point shooter? Last year, he was the 66th ranked player, averaging 17.5 and 8, and that's realistic for him to do, but he doesn't block shots, he doesn't get steals, poor free throws, poor field goals. If any of those improve, maybe he gets there, but I'm not willing to bet on that 5 years in that all of a sudden those shooting percentages are going to become awesome. JJ Redick is ranked 84th on Yahoo. He lost his starting job for the first game of the preseason to Markelle Fultz, and while that may or may not continue for the regular season, he is going to suffer a downturn in playing time, I think, and usage this season. And while he was really good last season, we know he was impressive. I don't think that looking at him as the 84th best player is a realistic way to look at it. He was 77th in ranks last season with a usage of 22 in 30 minutes. That should dip. Both of those numbers should dip. He also put up a career high in assists of 3 per game, and I think that will suffer somewhat of a backward step as well. Kelly Oubre Jr. ranked 136. I just worry that he's not a great per minute guy, and I'm not sure where the minutes are going to be. Coming off the bench, I just don't see it. It's okay with a late round pick, but there are probably going to be other guys there. And the real egregious, upper echelon guy in terms of rankings is Kemba Walker, ranked 14th on Yahoo. To me, there is zero rationale or explanation why Kemba should be that ranked as high as pick number 14. He was 30th last season, 27th the year before that. What step are we expecting him to take to get to that level? Is he going to become a 47% shooter from the field? Is he going to start grabbing 5 rebounds per game or scoring 27 points per game? I suppose maybe one of those is real. But to get to 14, you need to take a lot of steps up, and I don't think that Kemba is going to do that. Plus, if he gets traded, which I don't think he will, then the value is almost definitely going to drop. So you shouldn't be looking at Kemba Walker as that guy for pick number 14. That'll wrap it up for today's podcast. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at preseason news, some interesting things, talking more about that mark and an injury, and some outlooks or some recaps from what's happened over the preseason so far. Follow me on Twitter at redrock_bball. Subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, and on YouTube. Thumbs up, leave a comment, you know it all. Check out my short little Dynasty videos on YouTube or the brand new Locked On Dynasty Fantasy Basketball podcast available in this feed, combining those into one audio show per week. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya. Sheldon Mack.